The best trading record ever measured belongs to a man who never read an earnings report. He couldn't tell you what his companies did. He didn't care. For 3 decades, his fund made returns the giants of this series never touched, while he hired no analysts, took no meetings, and asked no one's opinion. He was a mathematician. He treated the market as one more code to be broken. And the uncomfortable question his career leaves behind: what if the stories investors tell are just noise? Warren Buffett read businesses. Peter Lynch walked shopping malls. Both of them asked, what is this company worth? Jim Simons never asked that question in his life. His question was, in millions of old prices, are there patterns that repeat? Tiny ones, invisible to humans. And can you bet on thousands of them at once? Conviction about companies never enters the machine. Only evidence about prices. 2 ways of seeing the same market, and this third one made more per dollar than either of the others. This is Great Investors, the lives and methods of the people who actually beat the market, told so you can steal what transfers. Today, Jim Simons, the codebreaker who solved the market with math. The method has a birthplace, and it isn't Wall Street. Simons was a mathematical prodigy, a doctorate at 23, and later a theory, Chern-Simons, that physicists still build on today. But the part that matters happened in secret. In the 60s, he worked for a classified defense institute, breaking Soviet codes. Think about what code breaking actually is: an enemy signal that looks like pure static, and buried inside it, a faint, repeating structure that gives the game away. Find the structure, and the noise stops being noise. He would spend the rest of his life doing exactly that. He just changed which signal he was listening to. Next, he built a machine made of people. Given a university mathematics department to run at 30, Simons turned it into one of the best in America, not by teaching, but by recruiting. He could smell extraordinary talent, and he collected it. Then, at 40, he walked away from all of it: the chair, the reputation, the theorems, to trade currencies from a strip mall office next to a pizza place. His colleagues were horrified. The greatest mathematical mind of his generation, they said, wasted on money. They were watching the most important hire of his life, himself. Here is the part the legend leaves out. For years, he wasn't very good. The early fund traded currencies and commodities the way everyone does: charts, hunches, macro stories, gut. It made money, then gave it back, and the swings physically sickened him. The insight that changed everything was an admission of weakness. His gut was no better than anyone else's, and he knew it. So he made the decision no discretionary trader can stomach. No more stories, no more feelings. If a signal could not be found in the data and tested, it did not exist. So he staffed the firm the way he had staffed the department, with the only people he trusted to find structure in static. Not bankers, code breakers, speech recognition scientists, physicists, people who had never read a balance sheet and never would. And while rivals fought over headlines, his team hoarded something nobody else valued: data. Prices going back decades, to cotton markets in the early 1900s, cleaned by hand, error by error, until the record was honest. It sounds like janitor work. It was the moat. You cannot find faint patterns in dirty data. In 1988, he launched the fund that would become the legend, Medallion, and it nearly died in the crib. Within a year, the new system was down about 30%, and Simons did the thing the discipline demanded. He stopped the machine. No doubling down, no praying. Stop, take it apart, find what's broken. The rebuilt model let the fund's short-term signals do the driving, and in 1990, Medallion returned over 50% after fees. The machine worked. it would never have a losing year again. How does it actually make money? Not the way people imagine. There is no crystal ball, no secret formula predicting next year. There are thousands of tiny statistical tendencies. This pattern, on this kind of day, resolves upward slightly more often than not. Any single one is barely better than a coin flip. One of his top scientists put a number on it. Right just over half the time. That is enough. If you place millions of bets, size them precisely, and keep your costs near zero. Casinos don't know which spin they'll win. They know the table's edge, and they never leave it. 3 rules kept the machine alive, and all 3 run against human nature. 1. The model's decision is final. The moment it hurts most is exactly the moment you don't override it. 2. Stay small on purpose. The fund was capped, and outside money was eventually shown the door, because too much size kills small edges. 3. Pay for genius. The people who build the edges own the results. Every blow-up you have ever heard of broke one of these 3, usually the first. And when the world finally broke, the machine had its answer ready. 2008. Banks failing, markets halved, the geniuses of Wall Street begging for rescue. Medallion posted one of the best years in its history. The patterns it feeds on are human: fear, hurting, panic. And that year, the humans provided them in bulk. Step back and look at the whole record, because nothing like it exists anywhere else. From 1988 to 2018, Medallion averaged roughly 66% a year before fees, about 39% after. 3 decades, through every crash on the chart. Those numbers were only possible because the fund refused to grow. That is the paradox the industry still can't copy. The best money machine ever built stayed deliberately, permanently small. So what do you take from a man whose machine you cannot copy? You can't hire 100 cryptographers, but the discipline underneath transfers whole. First, know what your edge actually is, measured, written down, and if you can't state it, you don't have one. Second, costs and taxes are the house's edge against you. Simons won partly by making them vanish. Third, and hardest, the system only works if you obey it on the worst day. Even Simons, near the end, felt the urge to override his own machine in a panic. The machine outvoted him. Build rules that can outvote you. That's great investors. Jim Simons died in 2024, having given most of his fortune away, much of it, fittingly, to mathematics teachers. If you want to practice the discipline half of his method, written rules, measured edges, obeying your own system, the academy inside our platform trains exactly that muscle. Next time on Great Investors, the man who made his fortune betting against everyone, including once an entire country's central bank.